I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. We are now in America's second civil war. And I want to alert all that I will be demonstrating the return of the Lord Jesus Christ, not the time, anywhere from 7 to 70 years of his return, possibly or longer, 120 years, I don't know. But I know that humanity is responding to the fact that the aura of humanity, the aura of Jesus' return is affecting humanity. Let me put it that way. We'll try to be more definitive about that as we go along. And ATLAH is an integral part of the return of the Lord Jesus Christ. The return of the Lord Jesus Christ without Bethlehem, Ephrata, then who knows where Jesus would have been born. But America is experiencing her second civil war. Now, weapons have been fired. Weapons were fired on January 6th. I think a woman by the name of Ashley Babbitt was killed in that exchange. And other weapons have been used. And some of the police officers lost their lives either on that day or as a result of that day, I should say. So there have been deaths in this first Civil War. And January 6th was the equivalent of the Abraham Lincoln, if you will, Fort Sumter. And the matter continues as it goes along. America is at civil war, its second civil war. Let's be clear about that. And again, it is because humanity is responding, that creation is responding to the aura, the spiritual, if you will, that goes out before the return of the Lord Jesus Christ, the John the Baptizer who prepared the way for Jesus. There is a response of humanity becoming more vile, more satanic, more cultish, more rotten, more evil, more defiant, more lawless. So America is at its second civil war. And I want to quickly, in the time I have left today, raise a couple of questions with respect to this civil war. Will the indictments, and Trump is going to be indicted, will the indictments of Trump prove that he is the trigger of the tribulation? Will the indictments prove that? Because once Trump is indicted, it's a whole new ballgame here in America. There'll be a division line, a Jefferson Davis line, an Abraham Lincoln line. And I'm not sure that people, newscasters, the CNN types, MSNBC types, will be able to travel into the Deep South. Or the Fox News people be able to travel in the Deep North or the High North. The Jefferson Davis Highway, the Mason-Dixon lines will come back again. Will that then prove to you that God said that Donald John Trump is the trigger of the tribulation? Now, there are a lot of people running around saying he's a prophet. A lot of people saying he's the best thing that ever happened to America. To those of you who know that that is not true, does that prove to you that America has become cultish and that is the trigger of the tribulation? I mean, when people actually say, and some of you, even Republicans know, Mitch McConnell knows, Kevin McCarthy knows, and a bunch of other people, even Marjorie Taylor Greene knows that Trump didn't win the election and knows he's not the greatest, but the war is on. And you don't turn against the general. You support you support the commands of the general. They know better. But there are some people. I mean, like that crowd that gathered in Texas not long ago, this woman carrying a Trump sign, that Trump and JFK Jr. Now you have to realize, leader of MSN, you have to realize who on earth would believe that JFK Jr., who's been dead now, 20 years, will be the running mate of Trump. You have to know that this is a sign of the tribulation. You don't know of anything as preposterous But it's a sign of the tribulation, and it's also a sign of the return of the Lord Jesus Christ. And that woman is very proudly, now that's just one engineer that's found that woman is very proudly waving that sign. And they're all over America. People that are all over America, Trump supporters, who believe that John Jr. will be Trump's vice president as he runs in 2024. Thank you, Mr. Engineer. So he will be indicted. Will that prove to you that God spoke to me that he is the trigger of the tribulation? And where there will be trials, if he's indicted, then there are going to be trials. And will Trump be convicted of anything in the next 2 years? Now, as of this date, the 24th of October, here in the federal court building, it's a federal court or Supreme State Court building, I'm not sure which, jury selection is underway for the criminal charges against Trump organization, not against Trump. But Alan Weisselberger, who has been with Trump since day one, has pleaded guilty to several counts of fraud while running the Trump organization. The trial gets underway this Monday morning right here in New York City. They're selecting a jury. It's a criminal charge. There are criminal charges of tax evasion, of fraud, of pumping up applications for loans, et cetera, which are criminal activities. But the only person that has been convicted of a crime in this process at point is Alan Weisselberger. Now, he's Trump's right-hand man. He served Trump's father. He's going to testify at this trial. Will that then bring Eric Trump, Donald John Trump Jr., and Tribulation Trump under criminal charges as well? This trial is already underway. Now, there was a criminal charge against Donald John Trump, Tribulation Trump, that should have been brought by Alvin Bragg. He dropped it. We're not sure why, whether he was bribed, whether he was threatened, what the deal was, what Trump knows about him, and why he dropped those charges, and why many of the highfalutin lawyers that were part of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office left Alvin Bragg after he just blatantly decided not to prosecute Trump. But will there be a conviction? Will Trump be forced to come to trial? Will we, at this time next year, watch Trump on television under oath on trial for criminal charges? Now, there are several possible indictments. Indictment number one, and I think the first indictment is going to fall in Fulton County, Georgia, by Fannie Willis, who is the Fulton County District Attorney, who will charge Trump, charge Newt Gingrich, charge Lindsey Graham with an attempt to defraud the state of Georgia when Trump called and asked for 1,180 other votes, which is a clear cut. And Trump knew that, according to Judge Carter, a judge out in Los Angeles, stated in a memo last week that Trump knew that he had lost the election. He had been told time and time again that he had lost the election, yet he called Rasselberger, Brad, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, to ask him to recount it in Trump's favor. Of course, he wouldn't do it. That's going to be the first indictment, and that indictment is coming. And I suspect it'll happen within the next 30 to 45 days. That's going to be a Christmas present for Trump, that indictment. And he'll fight it, but it's coming. It is coming. And then, of course, there is the indictments that will come, that must come. If Merrick Garland does not indict Trump for carrying those documents down to Mar-a-Lago or Bedminster or to Trump Tower or wherever he has stored those documents, if Merrick Garland doesn't indict him, then let me back up for a second before I conclude that thought. I'm asking you, now that you see what's happening, do you believe that Trump is the trigger of the tribulation? Now that you see there are people that are saying that John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., John, who's been dead over 20 years, is going to rise from the dead and be Trump's running mate. I mean, that's what's going on in our world today. That's what's going on in MAGA land. That's what's going on in MAGA country. That's what's going on with Trump. And he's not denied it. He's not put that kind of promotion down. Trump has not said, don't say that. That's not true. He hasn't said that. Not one time. He's allowed it to be publicized. So I'm saying to you that we're in America's second civil war. Is where we are now. Number one, does it now say to you clearly that God said that Trump is a trigger of the tribulation? And number two, it is also a sign of the worsening of humanity, which means that Jesus is returning. Humanity is worse now than it has ever been in the history of humanity, even going back to the days what we saw in Rwanda with the Hutus and the Tutsis was a month long of carnage, and it's awful. A lot of people lost their lives. But it's nothing compared to the level of humanity that's happening in America today and then across the world. As a result of that, in America, when America sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold or pneumonia. So there's going to be an indictment in Georgia. There's going to be an indictment. Merrick Garland's going to indict Trump. He's going to do it. And the other thing, and this is where it gets really interesting, we'll have to do part 2 of this, so you have to come back again to get the rest of this. The thing that's very interesting, when Trump gets indicted, when is Trump going to use his Trump card? When is Trump going to use his Trump card? That is to say, he's got information in those documents that can sink, what's the name of that shit that they wanted to sink the Bismarck. Trump has got information on India, on China, on Korea, nuclear information. He's got information on Israel, on France, on Germany. Trump has got enough information to sink the Bismarck. That's right. And to make what happened with Truman dropping the bombs out of a little boy not the boy, I think the name of the plane, dropping those bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki looked like a 4th of July fireworks event. Trump has got that information, so when is he going to release it? That's the thing I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. They're not going to put him in jail. Possibly, the other possibility is that Trump could commit suicide. That's the other possibility. I need to get that out there. I said that some time ago. He could avoid all of this and commit suicide. But then you got people, the MAGA people, who have picked up his spirit and would just continue in that vein. But here's what I'm trying to say to you. The indictments are coming in. When is Trump going to use his Trump card? That's the question I want to raise, because he's going to have to use it. One would say it probably in a less sophisticated approach of this would say Trump has got get out of jail free card for everybody. He's even got a get out of jail free card for people who've been like Steve Bannon, who probably will end up in jail at some point in time. Stuart Rhodes, who possibly will end up in jail, and members of the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, those that have already been sentenced. He's got a get out of jail card for everybody. When is he going to drop it? Now, that's the thing I want you to pay very careful attention to over the next 18 to 19 months. When is Trump going to use his Trump card to get everybody who's been sent to jail, who are supporters of the MAGA movement, when is he going to drop that Trump card? Because he got all that nuclear information, he's got all that private information, he got all that personal information, and people's lives he holds everybody's life in the palm of his hands right now. Trump holds the life of planet Earth in the palm of his hands right now. He does. Because again, as I said before, when America sneezes, the rest of the world catches pneumonia. So even people who have nothing to do with America will suffer because America has got its tentacles into every nation, whether it's spies working or economic development, oil supplies, energy supplies, ammunition, all kinds of interactions, cultural interactions, all of that Trump is holding in his hand. He's holding the planet Earth in his hand. Now, he is the trigger of the tribulation. He's a servant of Satan. Listen, let's be clear about what we be clear about. I'm not here promoting him as some sort of saint. He's a servant of Satan, and then some. That is to say, he's doing all of what he's doing, but it's happening because we're in the tribulation, and he's the trigger of the tribulation. Trump has the power to make that statement where Jesus said there shall be wars and rumors of wars, kingdom against kingdom, nation against nation. Trump is the only one that have the power at this moment, and there'll probably never be another. But the person who has the power to make that statement that Jesus said about wars and rumors of wars is real as the nose on your face is tribulation Trump. He's got that power. Now, I have to tell you that Barack Hussein, the long-legged Mac Daddy Obama, is even stronger than Trump. He is. And he's a part of the tribulation experience as well. But we're not discussing him right now, but don't go to sleep on him. Don't go to sleep on the long-legged Mac Daddy. The long-legged Mac Daddy, his purpose is to stop ATLAH. That's his purpose. His purpose is to defy the efficacy, the prophecy of James David Manning. That's his job, to stop the prophecy of ATLAH, the efficacy of James David Manning, to make sure that there is no place clean enough, there is no place where Jesus can return to. When he first came, they tried to kill him over there in Bethlehem, Ephrata. Obama's position is far worse than tribulation Trump, because Obama's position is to make sure that there's no place for Jesus to return. Stop ATLAH. Stop James David Manning. Stop Pastor Man. Stop the prophecy. Stop the word. Stop the people. That's Obama's, which is even more insidious. But nothing makes the words of Jesus more clear than Donald John Trump, who is the trigger of the tribulation. I'm James David Manning, everybody. I'm not through with this. We're going to continue this teaching as we go forward. I do want to say to you, remember that we're in foreclosure. Remember, I'm preserving this land for Jesus. They're trying to take it through the courts, through the lawyers, through the pensioners, Negroes, through the House Negroes. Remember, you must support us. You must give your prayers. And if you don't have money, you can give a car, or you can give a house or land or old jewelry, gold, artwork, to make sure that there is one place where Jesus can return to. It'll be called ATLAH. The land's so clean, you can take off your shoes and walk barefoot. Remember that. Remember that. Don't let them take this, and the tribulation will have, and there'll be no returning of the Lord Jesus Christ. But we're in it, and I'll have more to say in the days to come.